So everybody has their high school friends, and then of course most people like me have their camp friends. You, from childhood, you can say I've got my high school friends or I've got my elementary school friends. For me it's both. And then you've got your camp friends. I've got this other weird set of childhood friends that I would say my vineyard club friends. But what's a vineyard club?
Can see there's a change in me. They all say I'm not the same kid I used to be. Don't go out and play. I just
Hello, welcome to Journaling Through the Years, episode 25. Hi. So, guess what happened? And I'm a little terrified, okay? So, earlier today, in the morning, I recorded a whole episode 25, and it was like a half an hour, because I guess I like to talk, and then I went to start editing, and I put it in my editing software, and guess what? It didn't record audio, even though my mic was set up, and my, mic was set up, and it was plugged in, and I checked, like, all the settings and everything, and it read nano and everything, but it didn't record sound. So here I am. And it is evening, it is 5 o'clock in the evening, and instead of coffee, I am having a glass of vino. It says, coffee gets you through the day, wine makes everything okay. And you can see, I like this because you could see me in there, in my glass. It's like kind of, ooh. Okay, so, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a better day than I did. No, actually I had a pretty good day. And I had a good weekend. This weekend I finished shooting a short film, and I got the rough cut of it edited, and so that was pretty exciting. I do not like this lighting, but it's just the main lighting. I look kind of yellow, so whatever. If I like turn it off, I'm pitch dark and I can't see, so I don't know. You know, one of these days I think I have to get like a like one of those web, like, vlogger lights and have it there or something right here. I don't know. And then you can attach your phone to it, because I'm using my computer and my computer mic, and I like that a lot better. But I do like to do, like, Instagram lives and such at times, and having a thing, what is it called, a round light thing? I don't know. I'm just learning. I learn as I go. Okay, let's have a sip. It is a blustery, rainy winter day here, and there's snow up on the mountains around me, and a lot of Oregon, and maybe even Washington, I don't know, has, like, I know some friends of mine that I dog walk for are snowed in up in Portland, and that's why I haven't walked for them. Well, a good portion of it. So, so that's fun, but we have not seen snow on this, like, on the ground floor yet, but who knows? Who knows? And it would be really fun to actually have a white Christmas. I grew up in Northern California. Where I grew up, there was North Bay, not a lot of snow, which I want to actually talk about, because last week I was reading through this journal, and we're almost done. The only thing left is like a weird Bible verse, and I was just tiptoeing into fundamentalist religion. I didn't even know it was fundamentalist at the time, because I was new to it, and it seemed great. So, we secretly replaced your loving, gracious, forgiving religion with one that is full of judgment and hate. Let's see if anyone notices. I noticed. Anyway, so I found this one, and it's a lot fuller, and it's going back to high school, which not jumping ahead to college, which this one did. So I'm going to put that aside. It only has like one last thing about a Bible verse. And there is so many more journals to come, like where I'm like writing prayers, and I'm going to be embarrassed about some of the stuff and all that. So let's stay tuned for that. But let's go back to high school. Now, what I found was really interesting about this one is that it starts out talking about my neighborhood and some friends I have. So I grew up in a very rural neighborhood called the Vineyard Club, and now it's a little foo-foo, but back then it was very, 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 very rural. Not a lot going on in the winter. In fact, most of the houses were weekenders or summer only, and so in the summers, or sometimes in the summers on the weekends, it would be very, very busy, very, very full, not all the time. And then there wasn't a lot of round termers or year rounders or full timers. I don't know. I'm trying to. My friend that I knew from this set of friends called me the hick, or country bumpkin, and I call him a rich city snob or something. But he wasn't, and whatever. It was really rural, and it was really great because I could just wander, I could just walk, and there was no real fear of me getting lost or getting mugged or any crazy thing. And so yeah, it was really, I mean, at any time at night, like we could just go and then it in itself was maybe 10 minutes outside of Geyserville, which is a very small town, which probably you've heard of now because wine country, Sonoma County. But back then, it was not what it is today. It's still really, really small, but it has a little bit more clout because of the wine industry. And then my home was 25 miles outside of Healdsburg, which you also have heard, and then 45 minutes away from Santa Rosa, which is like the main city of Sonoma County, and it's kind of like it's not that, it's got some attractiveness to it, but it's not, whatever. And that, to me, when I was growing up, like, that was the big city. And then we're like an hour away from the city, so I lived out in the nowhere. I've never considered myself a jock. I'm not very sporty. I do like to work out. I do like to be physical. But I know now I'm a country girl. And like where I live right now, I live outside of town, only about 5 minutes. And I live on some property, and and I'm pretty close to like a lake that I can walk to. And it's very cool. And I feel very genuinely connected to myself here. And what I was thinking about earlier is that for most of my life, until recently, I didn't know, like, what was my favorite this. Like, when I went away to college and everybody was asking, like, what's your favorite music? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite book? Or you go on Facebook and it's like, favorite this, favorite that. I didn't know what to say. Because for so much of my life, I was always trying to please others so that I would be safe, you know? I learned to do that. I learned to be aware of others before myself, because that was how I kept myself safe. So I didn't know how to value myself. And so right now I'm reading actually this book, The Empath Experience, among others that I've read. And I've really been learning about honoring myself and knowing what is important to me, and kind of listening to that and remembering to love and take care of myself, and that receiving from another isn't selfish, nor is saying no. I get to choose. It's my life, my choice. So back to where I grew up. There was this clubhouse, and the whole neighborhood was called the Vineyards, and the clubhouse was called the Vineyard Club. I'll have a picture. You'll see a picture on the screen of the kind of what the clubhouse looked like. And so Vineyard Club, and there was like a like a clubhouse with like a kitchen and like a inside dining, outside dining. You could barbecue, you could do everything. And then there was like a big grassy lawn, like kind of going down to the sand and going down to this lake. We called it a lake. Most people would call it a pond, but we called it a lake, and had an island and all these fun things. So, and that was like kind of in the center, and then the houses were around it and around it, around it, and back, back, back. So everybody has their high school friends, and then of course most people like me have their camp friends. You, from childhood, you can say I've got my high school friends, or I've got my elementary school friends. For me, it's both. And then you've got your camp friends. I've got this other weird set of childhood friends that I would say my vineyard club friends. But what's a vineyard club? So I have these group of friends that I have to give this whole long like speech. Okay, so when I grew up, I lived in this neighborhood called the Vineyard Club, and you know it was called and so these are my Vineyard Club friends. I guess I could say neighborhood friends, but they didn't always live in my neighborhood, so whatever. So this one, I think we're going to be really looking at the Vineyard Club friends. We're going to start to look at them and think about them. And I believe this journal was written about 15 years old, or at least starts there. And that is interesting. So I think it starts a lot with the Vineyard Club friends and those type of people. And so we might go back to camp at some point, but it's fun to look at some other friends for a change. So we start out with the 1994 New Year's resolutions. This is a silly thing to do. It's something that I don't do. As we're heading into the new year and the New Year's Eve and the holiday season, I do vision boards. I do that every month. I do one at the beginning of the year, and then I do one each month. And vision boards, intention boards, are more like ways to keep me focused. They're not necessarily like, you have to get this done right now. No, you have to do this, and if you don't do it, like with resolutions, people usually break them like a week later. But with intentions, it's a lot looser, and it's a lot more of like, okay, this is my vision, this is where I'm focused, this is what I want to achieve, but there's no deadline. A lot of the things that I have on my vision board have been there for 2 years. It's almost the same time. Okay, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm working on. But then there's other things that are, not there anymore. So it's just a way to kind of keep me focused and moving forward on what I need to do next. And I usually put each month my vision board on the door, my front door, so when I'm leaving I can see it, and I can see it almost every day. I have a lot of random like mental health quotes around my house to remind me. Another sip of Cabernet Sauvignon, the very fancy barefoot wine. 1994 New Year's resolution. Always, number 1, always be cheery and always smile. When life throws you lemons, make lemonade. Okay, that's a good the quote. Yes, that's important. But to be always cheery and always smile, it's impossible. And it's not genuine. I think, I grew up in a place where I was sort of, it was looked down upon to have any other like feelings, but to be happy, or to, I wasn't really in a safe place where I could feel all of my feelings. And that is what got me into trouble years later, because I always struggled with my emotions. All my life I've been ups and downs and anger outbursts and all the things. So to say this, it's not healthy, it's not genuine. But let's move on. 2, to form a group, a close-knit, together forever family group, hopefully and probably M-L-C-A. I don't know who that A is, or this one, C, this other C. I don't know who those people are anymore. Another A, D, E, and me. And then I have another group, which I guess was the above people were Vineyard Club friends, and then below I have high school A, J, B, C. I remember that person. I don't know whatever happened to them. E, that person's my friend on social media. Me, H, that was before. That H, that was before the big love triangle situation. C and B. C is a guy, this last C, and he moved to my area and came on social media and was just like really saying some really weird, bizarre thoughts that he thought were funny, and I was trying to give him a chance, like, this is a good friend, and then I was just like, done. So, who knows? Okay, so a note on this. First of all, what I notice is forever family group. I'm always looking for a sense of community, a sense of family that I don't feel like I have. And so I'm always looking for that. But you can't force that. Now, the first three people, M, L, and C, I definitely have them now. And they've been with me. They've always shown love to me throughout my life, even if I haven't been in a place to accept it or give it back. I've never once felt throughout my life, since the time I met them when I was little and I was crazy, and then still all my life, I've always felt that love, and I still do. And so now I'll try to do my best to give it back, because they're good people, and I value them like I value the others, and I'm realizing that they always gave me love. They always were there. They invited me, two of them invited me to their wedding, made sure I was on the wedding list, and I just couldn't see it because I was so much in my head and in my own pain. 3, to take as many opportunities that come your way, because these experiences will help you later on in life. Well, that's true, and I probably did, and that was good that I wrote that there. Number 4, this didn't need to be a resolution, because I would do this anyway. To read a lot and always. I remember I wrote that. I like this, to read a lot and always. Reading helps you understand the world better. Yeah, that's good. I didn't need to make that a resolution. I do that anyways. 5, no more long distance calls, with an exception of B, my friend. I'm running out of money. That's good to know. And I was calling all these boys, and remember this was the 90s and there were no cell phones. And so long distance, like, you could call the city next to you for free, but you couldn't call, like, this 2 cities over without it costing some money. Or maybe it was like 2 cities over you could call, but then the next city you couldn't because it cost money. And it added up. It was like 25 cents a minute or some crazy thing, and that added up. Take everybody's faults, dislikes, likes, etc. into your mind, not caring about them, which I think I meant, like, don't judge them for it, because everyone's different and everyone is bound to the same place in the end. I wasn't religious at the time. Everybody's gonna die. Just everybody is going to teach me something. That's true. I agree with that. That is what I've discovered in life. I think it's great. It's very interesting to me that at 15, and I know I'm 15 because you'll see in a couple, 2 more of these. At 15, I was writing that, and I was understanding that, because that's something I hold true today, and I've held true all my life. And there are phases of relationships. I mean, the people that I'm talking about that are long-term friends, a lot of friends these days, and especially with the pandemic, we don't see each other all the time. And it's a very long distance, or it's social media only. But you could still kind of remember each other and have a connection, and they're always there. And then there are some friends that you just come into each other's life and you're there for a time, and then you go away, and then maybe you'll come back, and maybe you won't, and maybe you'll keep in touch from far away, or and then times that you won't be as in touch, but then you'll come back. It's all phases, and there's seasons, and there's a purpose for being here and now together and then being away. And also relationships may change, like with Christina, my friend who passed away about a month ago now. When we were in high school and middle school growing up, we weren't that close. She would be, as you say, popular, and I was, as you say, not. I like to say we were in different social circles. However, then But as we got older and past high school, we would talk on the phone from time to time. In the dawn of Facebook, we kept in touch that way, and she was always very encouraging. So the relationship shifted, and she was someone that became very dear to me. Not just because I went to high school with her, but because I had invested in a relationship with her and me. She came to Ashland, where I live, and didn't get a hold of me. What? Oh well, it's fine. It's fine. I even told her that when I was like, it's fine. Anyways, don't hold any grudges. Life is too short. That is true, and that is something that I deal with all the time. However, the thing that I'm dealing with is that there are people that are energy vampires, or people that, maybe not energy vampires, but they're not healthy within themselves. And so I had to put a barrier, or there's just a barrier. The friendship is kind of dissolved. And I want to hold a grudge, and it takes time for me to forgive them, yet also, and not get angry when I think about them, but also, and like, even if I'm at my most angry, like if I'm hangry or something, I can fall back into that, but it's not holding grudges when there's this balance between holding grudges and letting it go, and also keeping yourself safe. Going back to somebody that's going to continue to take and forgiving them for their grudges, yet they're continually doing it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to separate from that, but I'm going to still forgive and not hold, and be thankful for the lessons that you've taught me. Here's a fun one. 8. To get my kiss before I'm 16, first kiss, which is in April, hopefully from G, because here's funny, this is a guy I was talking to that I liked, but I guess maybe his friend, and goes, because I want to be taught and to know how it feels before I actually fall in love with it, like the kiss. I have to fall in love with kissing. I have to be shown before it happens. Okay. Poor G, if he was gonna give me a first kiss, he did not. But that wouldn't, I feel sorry that I'm like, let's just give me my first kiss so that, and I'm not gonna love you. I just need to know. And I've never been that way. I've never been one that can go to a bar or whatever and be like, let's go, and then like not think about them the next day. Like, I am a demi and sapiosexual, which means I always have to have an intellectual and emotional connection with them. And if I don't, and that's flattering if somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey, but if I don't have that connection, I won't go and be with them sexually. So, and that's just how I am. Anyways. Here's a good one. 9. Oh, and I did, before I turned 16, this came true. It was in a month or so before I had my first kiss with my first boyfriend, whose name was Monty, and who died in like May of 2016. And I didn't know it until like 6 months later. Okay. 9. Remember all my friends' birthdays as special and get them something. Most of my friends would say yes, they are used to me sending them birthday cards, and everyone that like all the close friends, family, everything on Facebook, social media, Instagram. If you've worked for CafeGirl, you get a birthday shout out. I have friends that are like, I never get you anything, you always remember. So what? So what? Sucks to be you. 10. Run every day, sometimes 2 times, to keep in shape. Okay, that's great, and that's a good idea. But I see it as the beginning of an issue that I would have long-term: anorexia and body dysphoria. That was the beginning of it. And I still struggle with it, but it's getting better. I've learned throughout life to love this body and love myself. But a lot of that loving of my physical, my outward, had to start with really healing the inward and start to love myself outward. Here is a story. And this story is based on, even though it's written with another name, it's based on me and my friends. You'll see. Sarah stood in front of the full-length mirror. At 15, she had long, straight, dark brown hair, a cream complexion, and hazel eyes. Yeah. The roots of her hair were beginning to grow in light brown again, since last winter she had dyed it dark brown. Okay? Probably did, yeah. She pushed back her wispy bangs. Can you say 90210? Beverly Hills 90210 craze. And survey her zits. Not bad. She thought they were clearing up. She stepped away from her mirror as the phone rang. She picked up her portable phone. Portable phone! Remember those? They were not attached to the wall. They were not cell phones. And they were like probably this big. And you were like, burp, 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 burp. And you could like walk around your house. They were so cool. She picked up her portable phone. It was her best friend, Samantha Miller. Are you almost ready for the picnic? She asked. The girls were going to an annual neighborhood picnic they had every year at around spring break. Just around spring break. Just around. Almost. I heard there was going to be some new people there. It'll be fun, she said. I know. What are you going to wear? Sam asked. I'm not sure. I thought I might wear my overalls, Sarah said. As she did, she opened her closet door. Oh, cool. Wear that and that tight top. You know, the one with all the different colors, Sam said. This is very 90s. Oh, okay. Now what about you? Sarah said. Oh, I have nothing to wear. All my clothes are dirty. All of them. Okay. Why not borrow some of mine? Hey, I got it. Wear your baggy jeans and I'll let you wear one of my shirts, okay? Sarah waited and there was a pause, like dramatic. Oh, okay, good idea. I'll be over at your house in a minute. See you there. Bye. Sarah hung up the phone, pulled out her overalls and began to get dressed. The picnic. That's very 90s, like the baggy shirt with like the tight crop top. The picnic. The picnic was in the center of town, which just happened to be the island. This is not my, I took my home neighborhood and just ran with it. The town of Silverton circled around a large lake, and in the center was the picnic area / island. There was a huge ferry that left the mainland every hour, every weekend, and special occasions, such as today. But even so many, such as the two girls, took their own boats to save money. Aw, save money. But let's listen to this. The Miller family, along with many other wealthy families, owned a big fancy motorboat. They were saving money, but this was Samantha was rich, so whatever. Samantha and Sarah skipped out of Sarah's house and skipped over to the Miller's estate. They just skipped. The Miller's estate. They both hopped into their canoe. They're doing a lot of hop, skip. It'll be choppy today, shouted Sam's dad nervously. There will be a lot of people out. Okay, Dad, Sam called over her shoulder, and the two of them pushed out. They just don't even care. The dad's like, no. Over the clear blue lake. So it's funny because, is this a foreshadowing event? The Miller family lived on the right side of the railway. They were a wealthy family because Sam's dad, Paul, was a pilot who's nervous about choppy water. The girls paddled up to the island. Sarah was wearing a rainbow ribbed top and her overalls. She was also wearing her dark horn-rimmed glasses. She smiled a pretty smile, although with crooked teeth. Aw, you had to throw that in there. They ran up the stairway and joined the group of teenagers that was beginning on the small grassy lawn. They joined their longtime friend, Colleen, and her two best friends, Karen and Sally. These are old-fashioned names even for the 90s. Sally, Karen. Sally Shepherds had long blonde hair and blue eyes, and her stepsister, Karen Christians, had long light brown hair and hazel eyes. I'm sorry. These are, I know these people. I know what their real names are. And I am using these names same initial, but these are the Vineyard Club friends, but with different names. Colleen Thatcher had dark hair, dark skin, and dark eyes. She's a dark person. She's dark. No. there were, and there is Their, there were two new kids, a girl and a boy. The girl was shorter than the boy, and she had long blonde hair and big blue eyes. Oh, hi, I'm Samantha Miller, she said. Not her, not the girl, but yeah. Sam said, she said, thrusting out her hand. What's your name? I'm Kelly, and this is my brother Larry. Kelly and Larry, okay. Larry. 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 She had the sweetest little voice. Yeah, this is, yeah. These are my Vineyard Club friends. Then Larry spoke. His voice was a little bit lower, but still pretty high for a guy. It sounded like it was cracking and changing into a man's voice. I'm sorry. Other than that, he and his sister looked a lot alike. We're the Smiths, and we just moved in. Oh, really? What house? Sam inquired. Okay. 376 Canyon Way. Who just, like, who gives your address? 376 Canyon Way. Larry and Kelly both answered, and then both felt sheepish. Oh, sheepish. They are my new neighbors, Colleen said, gleefully clasping her hands together. There, Colleen. We'll be close. We'll have a lot of good times. Like, what if she said that really threatening? We'll be close. We'll have a lot of good times. You have no choice. Yeah, we'll all have a lot of good times, Sam and Sarah said, joining in all the fun. Colleen's smile faded out of jealousy. Shut up. What do you mean we? You guys won't be a part of it. Trust me. Okay, was this a red flag to Larry and Kelly? Were Larry and Kelly like, okay, She snapped. Karen and Sally both agreed, and Sarah and Sam both looked hurt. Yeah, I mean, were Kelly and Larry going, what the hell? We're not like Barbie dolls. Go away. She's not nice. Shut up, Colleen. You know you're the bossy loudmouth, Sarah said. At that moment, with all those bitter words thrown back and forth between each other, Sarah could tell that her friends, whose friendships had once been so tightly bound, were going to be strained somehow. At that moment, and they were like, where is this? I feel like Colleen was always this way. She was the dark Colleen. That's dark Colleen. Somehow it looked like Colleen, Sarah, Karen, and Sally, and even Sam herself wanted the approval from the new kids in town. I'm trying to think of the New Kids on Town theme song, but it's not coming to me. Like the band, the New Kids in Town. The New Kids in Town, Larry and Kelly Smith. What a name. These names are changed. Here. I'm telling you, Vineyard Club friends, this is a little disclaimer. These names are changed for confidentiality, but most of the stories are of my memories and stories that I shared with my closest friends, with all my close friends. Maybe a little skewed based on what was going on in my head or what I wanted to happen, but it's good because I've often thought about how one of my ideas that I have for a future future film is this film called Four Summers, and it takes place with the Vineyard Club friends when they're in about this age, 14, 15, and they all meet or have met before, but they all kind of become that close-knit group that we talked about. And then you see them like years later, they're freshmen in college, or they're going to college, or they're in college, but they're, somewhere in the early years of college. Then you see them about 4 or 5 years later, getting married, having babies, that whole thing. Then you see them some years later, early 40s, say, because that's where I'm at now. And they're, different phases of life, and they're all coming together, and it's all like one summer between each time. And the things that happen. So even though this is probably skewed based on what I thought was going on, like it's not necessarily true, it'll be very good to have as a reference for the years when I was 14. Because I plan on showing, like, my character, I was crazy. I did some crazy things, as I'm realizing through therapy. I'm going to show it. I don't care. But I'm also going to show some of the fun and the good times and the sweetness. Because, like I said, a lot of these people that I mentioned were very forgiving, and yeah, they always showed me love throughout life. and never stopped, and they're always there. So, yeah. The haunted house. Of all my travels all over the world, I have never found anything to compare with my hometown of Geyserville. Well, yeah. Even better, my own neighborhood, the Vineyards. Yeah, nothing could compare. There was one particular house that had been vacant for quite many years. All my life, my friends and I stayed away from that old vacant gray house, for there was a story that had circulated throughout the neighborhood for a great many years, even before I was born. Now I want to share that treasured story of sadness and horror with you. Back in the turn of the century, the Vineyards was not that old. I'm not talking about 2000. I'm talking about 1900. The Vineyards was not around. It was a totally different area in that time period. And this house wasn't there. This house was maybe early 60s. But journey with me now. Back in the turn of the century, a young couple moved into the area. They were the Webbers. That's a very modern name. Anyways, they built a big gray house on a big grassy field. They had a long driveway leading up to the front door with oak trees along the side. This was the newfangled way, and Louise Webber always wanted to be the first one out. Jonathan Webber was the doctor for his family and for the few other people who had surrounding houses around them. A year went by. After moving in and getting well established, Louise gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Jonathan after his father. A year after that, Johnny Jr. got a baby sister. Who was named Eliza. Junior and Eliza were great friends. Junior was like the rest of the family, dark brown hair and smoldering brown eyes. But Eliza was quite beautiful, with her little blonde curls, wide blue eyes that looked like velvet, and a very white, creamy complexion. To top that off, she had a birthmark the shape of her heart, like a real heart. It's like on her left cheek. But I think I meant like a heart, not like a real heart, but that would be funny. John's mother, who came to live with the family about the time Eliza was born, took a liking to the small girl. "You're quite a beauty," she would often tell her. And to Louise, she would say, "I think Eliza's sent from the heavens. She's such a little angel." 5 years went by. Louise had another baby boy. Julian soon became a great part of the Webber family. This is when Eliza's true personality came out, but I didn't say that. That sounds a bit ominous, but it's not. She was exactly how her grandmother had described her, an angel. At only 5, she would hold the dear baby close to her heart and kiss it gently, close to her heart, like, "I love you, you know, the baby's like, ah." Okay, she helped her mother out as much as possible. She never hurt anything, not even a fly on the wall. Stupid fly. When Junior was 11, Eliza 10, and Julian 5. Get it later. And Julian 5, 3 things happened that changed the life of the Webber family. More families began to move in. That's all that I said and all I will share at this time. Now, first of all, I was and have been heavily influenced by my favorite author, and I can say it's my favorite author because I did a lot of inside work and I looked at myself and I went, this is my favorite author. These are my favorite books. The author is Lucy Maud Montgomery, who wrote most famously Anne of Green Gables, but she wrote so much more. And I read all her books, and I've reread them. And my writing has always been greatly influenced by her in the style, and all my life since I discovered her. And which is really hard when you're writing to write contemporary dialogue and you're writing like 1900s kind of 1800s kind of style. But she was always very flowery and very flowery in her descriptions and such. And this story wasn't really about my home neighborhood. If you want to know the ending, you can go to her books, either The Story Girl or The Golden Girl, and the story is in there, the ending. But I'm not going to tell you. Maybe I'll tell you next week, but I will put in the comments below the story that I've written, and you can decide what happens. So, that is all for this week. And I just want to say this week's episode is, of course, dedicated to my Vineyard Club friends. Last time I dedicated something to my Geyserville high school classmates, something bad happened. But that's not going to happen this time. No, it's not. So this is dedicated. I shouldn't even have said that. But oh well. This is dedicated to my Vineyard Club friends. And I'm not even going to say what that is. It just are the Vineyard Club friends, or the VC fam.
There's a change in me.